Welcome back to our international viewership, and thank you so much for joining us again for our English edition. I'm Daniel Cook, your host, presenting you a translated version of the news Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. The General Prosecutor's Office has strengthened its anti-corruption unit by 2 officers due to the high number of corruption cases in Albania. The unit will be investigating 400 cases of reported corruption in the highest levels of leadership. Supporting this unit will now be a U.S. expert from the OPDAT mission. In a meeting held at noon, the Chief Prosecutor Llalla presented his new prosecutors, who have experience in anti-corruption activity in local prosecution units. Mr. Llalla asked the unit to finish up the corruption cases that have already begun, especially cases of property investigation, and to immediately start dealing with the cases that have been reported more recently. After the meeting, Chief Llalla declared that there are going to be arrests in connection to the cases that are currently under investigation. Just 4 days after resigning from his mandate, the Socialist MP Ndoka has been charged by the HIDAACI of concealing assets amounting to €1.5 million. The inspectorate says that their audit revealed false statements of assets and that the subject could not produce the source of the assets in question. The inspectorate claims that Mr. Ndoka refused to give any explanation of the source of his wealth. The HIDAACI requires the prosecution to launch a thorough investigation to find out whether there are other crimes, considering that they are dealing with an MP who has been convicted of serious offenses abroad. The inspectorate thinks that these assets, which he cannot explain through legitimate means, may be a product of criminal activities. The government has proposed harsher penalties against people who violate the fiscal laws and against tax inspectors who abuse their responsibilities. A new draft by the Ministry of Finance includes the penalty of prison time for business owners who have not registered their activities, as well as smugglers and people who do not register their goods. Prison time may also be given to employers who do not declare all of their employees and tax inspectors that abuse their duties or violate the law. The proposal is to change the criminal code and include punishment of up to 10 years in prison for these infractions. Article 171 of the draft reads as follows. The import, export, or transit of illicit goods prohibited or restricted from entering and leaving the Republic of Albania, conducted by any means, is punishable by imprisonment of up to 10 years. The Ministry of Finance is also requesting up to 3 years of prison time for business owners who conduct their activity in violation of the law or fail to issue sales receipts. Article 1 reads, conducting illegal commercial activity or commercial activity that is not registered with the tax authorities, failure to declare the number of employees hired, or failure to issue tax receipts constitutes a criminal offense and is punishable by up to 3 years in prison. The criminal code is intended to be tougher on tax agents as well, who will be given 7 years for any abuse of duty. The draft says, failure to perform duties related to the collection of taxes within the statutory deadline by the employees of the tax authorities or other officials is punishable by prison time of up to 7 years. These changes in the criminal code and the tougher measures against smuggling and black market trading are in the context of the government's national operation against informality. The government will soon be starting its second phase of the anti-corruption operation, which is auditing inventory warehouses. Sources from the Ministry of Finance informed us that the warehouses will be audited in order to find out whether inventory is being properly documented and reported. Any goods that are found that do not have proper paperwork will be confiscated, and we should expect to see tougher penalties as well. The proposed amendments to the criminal code have already been sent to the Assembly for approval, a process that is expected to be finished by next week. With the process of warehouse auditing, the government will extend its operation against informality from small businesses to large ones. The experts think that this is the stage of the operation that will generate more revenue for the state budget, considering the fact that big business gives the largest contribution to tax revenue. The Ministry of Finance has announced that the general directors of the tax and labor inspectorates will publish the results of this past week, in which the operation was primarily focused on small businesses. Mayor Veliaj held a meeting today with his 24 administrators about the chaotic situation of traffic in Tirana now that the academic year has begun. Our new mayor announced that new measures will be taken to facilitate the flow of traffic and make sure that students can get to school on time. He said, "The measures that we will present today will come to the aid of Tirana's students, and they will enter into force on Monday. According to a recently conducted study, every student loses 5 minutes of class per week because of heavy traffic. The city has 100,000 students, so those 5 minutes of delay equal out to 500,000 minutes lost in a given week, or 8,333 fewer classes per week," said Mr. Veliaj. He said that the circulation of heavy vehicles will be restricted from 6 p.m. to 9 a.m. in the morning and from 4 to 5 in the afternoon. He also announced that the supply vans for local shops will not be allowed during the peak hours of the day, and that shops will have to be resupplied from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Additionally, vehicles over 3 tons in weight will not be allowed on the ring road between 6 and 8. The Tirana prefect has also drafted a plan of action for improving traffic. He met with representatives from the education system and the police department, asking them to provide concrete plans for student safety. There was a gathering of Albania's mayors today in the capital city of Tirana, where the Minister of Urban Development revealed the strategy for urban planning. She said that 26 out of the 61 local units will have a new urban development plan in early 2016. And the ministry has opened an international tender in order to attract foreign experts and studios to design the plans. The Minister of Urban Development made the following announcement at the meeting. In addition to the financial assistance, the commitment of the government to the 26 local units will also include technical assistance for this accelerated process of developing urban plans. We have opened an international tender to seek the commitment of international experts and studios, which in cooperation with our national expertise will select the best people to design these plans. 26 local units will receive help, and 5 others will be assisted by U.S. aid. When this accelerated process is finalized, we have the financial opportunity to support other municipalities, declared Minister Germeni. The government will offer financial and technical assistance to 26 municipalities based upon the potential that they offer or the emergent need that they have for intervention. The total funding available for this project is 658 million lek. Several of Albania's mayors, like those of Vlora and Shkodra, were absent from the gathering today, and some who were present did not participate in the discussion. A special commission has been established for dealing with the issue of transboundary waters with countries like Greece, Montenegro, and Macedonia. The Vice Minister of Agriculture, who was elected to chair the commission, says that all the current agreements with regional countries have to be reviewed because they were made in 1960 and need to be improved. The Ministry of Agriculture feels that these agreements do not fit with the developments that have happened over time, and they need to be updated. The commission is made up of academic experts and various leaders of the country, and they currently are collecting data and arguments concerning the management of international waters. One professor named Niko Pano says that the government needs to give more attention to addressing this problem because Albania's waters are a national treasure. That concludes our news for this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Please be with us again tomorrow at the same time. Thanks. Have a great night.